Who would win in a race? Would it be an elephant or a dick four?
And I think we'll just leave it there because, like, I don't know. That's like a big conversation. I don't know if there's like enough scientific evidence to prove like what would win, a dick four or an elephant. So I think people like we probably have to do more research before we further the conversation. But I'd say it's probably a conversation for other people just to have in their own homes.
Yeah,
probably.
comment.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Who wins, an elephant or a dick four?
I think Tui got it right.
We started the evening off asking Tui this question, and he had a great answer.
I think so.
I think so. I think he was very insightful in that
So
one.
enough with the mystery. How's your week?
The week.
Okay, so we're doing a double podcast this week because we
Yeah.
had visitors and stuff last week. So how was last week? Leadership Fiji
Yeah.
and anxiety on your end, not me.
Yeah,
I was
right.
fine.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Leadership Fiji came visit us at the coffee shop, which is always great. They bring about a group of 33 people, all really like cool people. And unfortunately, like I, in particular, never get enough time with them. When they come in, just trying to always help in the back end and see how it goes. This year they had,
It's so vague.
okay.
Just
well,
always
so-
trying to help in the back end, just seeing how it goes.
Well,
What are you doing in the
this
back end?
year, I'm just trying to help make sure the staff and everybody get all the food out. This year, they ordered lunch from us,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just a bit more of an undertaking. It's such a
It
small
kind of like
shop.
grows every year. Because the first year they just came out to the farm. And we walked them around on the farm.
Actually, I love that year. We had them out, and we had a big Dallo farm that year.
Mm-hmm.
So we told them, yeah, come to the farm. But then they just like stood in all the Dallo plants
And we
out
like
in the
just gave
farm.
them like a
And we-
mini lecture.
Yeah, we had like a talk.
So
and asked
Leadership Fiji
questions.
is a program that companies put kind of like their up and coming, aspiring future employees with potential, young people with potential for leadership.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a mini MBA, probably something like that.
Well, and I think they are big on like grammar and public speaking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the key traits of good communication, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talked about with them this year is communication.
So first year was Dollar Farm.
And second year was coffee
Second
shop.
time was the coffee shop.
We just did drinks for them. And
Yeah.
then this year we did the full like
Pizza.
pizza with a sticky bun, and they all brought or came in and got drinks.
So our shop's in like a really small town. And so
Yeah.
we don't ever get 30 people coming in at one time.
No.
Like where that might be commonplace for some coffee shops, like we've never had that. We only get that when Leadership Fiji comes, like that big
Yeah.
rush, because it's a busload of people.
And we have we don't even have an industrial coffee machine in there. We've got like household, like a hearty espresso machine, but nothing that can handle.
It's not like a $20,000 like 4-bay barista express thing.
No.
Yeah. So
So we had two
So
of
just
them
pumping
running.
it,
We have one, and then we have a backup one in case the main one cacks out. So we had both running because we're like, which.
then I was just out there entertaining people.
Yeah, the first year was awful because we had one machine, and it takes us 2 minutes and 20 seconds to make one latte. Okay, and so when you have 30 people, it cannot take you that long to make coffee.
Mm.
It's unacceptable. So having two machines and just getting some of the drinks out, it took us half an hour to serve 33 people, but everybody already had their pizza, sticky buns, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We had a great conversation with them, and
How'd you like my game?
yeah, John did kind of like a,
Object lessons.
yeah, that's what you call object lesson, just kind of off the cuff, just something
Not bad,
that
eh?
he made up. It was pretty
Not
good.
bad.
We John and I always say this to him, like nights like tonight when we podcast or when we do Leadership Fiji or we do kind of like speaking events. John and I don't typically, other than our customer service stuff, we don't plan out what we're
Anything.
talking about.
Shoot from the hip.
We just kind of wing it.
Grab that 50 cal, just hip fire, baby. Like Elon Musk. Do you
Yeah.
see that video of him?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a video going around right now of Elon Musk hip firing a 50 cal sniper rifle.
Okay. Well,
pretty epic.
that's not us.
I wish.
I feel like the one thing that I appreciate about like public speaking with John is I think we have like a good cadence with each other, like a good rhythm where like one person will go and then the next will like vibe off each other. And then if I have something to say, like You can look for it in video, or you can look in like minute things where I'll like touch his elbow, or like I'll see John's
Touch my
face.
weenus.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. Very
It's
uncomfortable.
part of my elbow.
Don't say that out loud. Where I'll look at his face and I can see like in his eyes or something that he actually has something to say. So I'll kind of like wrap up and give him like the platform, and then if I have something to say, I'm like, trying to like be like, hey, honey, like let me go. We kind of vibe back and forth, and it typically goes better than I think it will.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to stir, like to trigger a conversation, like just like the touching of weenuses, like your turn, right?
I don't know why it's such a focus of.
I don't know. Okay, I forgot about that word, and when I was I'm being a child. When I was a kid, and such
a small child.
You're like, oh, weenus sounds like penis, and so I think that's. And then I don't know. This is just a really immature game because I'll just talk about it because. And then there's also the penis game, right? And so for those of you who've never played the penis game,
I think we've talked about this.
Have we?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. But I think everybody should know though. It's actually like one of those
re-educate you all.
Yeah, we'll just re-educate you on this game. So the game is like somebody else or somebody starts. You look at somebody in the eye and you say,
number one, you need to be out in public.
Yeah, you have to be in a public space, yeah.
And then you don't even say anything. You don't tell your friend you're starting. You just say quietly to your friend, you go, penis.
I would start quieter than that, actually. But then the rule, just basically the rule is the next person has to say the word penis louder than the last person. And so it starts off like, penis. And you're looking at each other in the eye. And then the next person's like, penis, and then it gets louder and louder until somebody gives up. Whoever gives up loses and then has to do whatever. But like it usually just ends up in some like people just looking around and just being like penis.
But be careful who you play with because some people will just go for it.
Dude, you know what? I'm sorry we're even talking about this. This is just like bringing back good childhood memories. I bet you had a guy living with you named Mike. I bet you he would have been really aggressive with that game.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I don't think I ever actually won because I was way too, scared.
Yeah, there's no way.
No, I don't actually even know if I ever started.
I'm not that person. I hung out, the people I hung out with as, a preteen, they would totally be okay with that kind of stuff. Like, just embarrassing themselves and just being, goofy and just having zero shame. And I was the only one I feel like that was I can't be a part of this.
My dad's a pastor.
No, it had nothing to do with that. Oh. It was just I just felt ashamed way too quickly.
I feel ashamed right now that we're talking about this game right after we're talking about Leadership Fiji.
Well, it's your own fault. They're great people and you're not.
Yeah,
so
true.
Maybe they should boycott you. I don't know.
I don't know. We might get canceled after this actually, but yeah. It's just that game just is it just helps you with communication basically.
Yeah, apparently.
Right?
It is what it is.
So my game was filling up cups of water and dumping them out as a team and making it.
I will say the game was good. I think it took too much of our time where they couldn't ask us enough questions. But we got a really good question.
Okay, what was the name of the girl from FM 96? Just looking at our producer right now. Joanna.
Okay.
Joanna.
Okay, it was weird because I had never seen her face before. And when she would talk, I would go, I know you. And then I'd look at her and go oh, no, I've never met you. And then she would talk and I would be like, I know you. And then I'm looking at her, I'm okay, I don't.
Is she a regular announcer on FM 96? That's one of the radio stations here in Fiji. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've definitely heard her.
Okay.
She just has kind of a really recognizable voice.
She's got good flair.
Yeah.
I love her.
And she had a good question. It was something about what do you, I think it was from the
Bad Bosses.
The podcast that we did.
With Moni?
Yeah.
Monica? Pixels?
We did with Monica. And we were talking about what a bad boss we've both had. We've had different bad bosses. And she was saying, what is a bad boss too and what's a good boss. We're
Mhm.
kind of talking about that. So it was our only question that we had time for, but I thought it was such a good question.
You know what's cool? And actually, we'll take a timestamp of this mark in the podcast because I want to say, like, we did a podcast with a girl that we do a class with like 3 times a week named Monica. Okay. It's a content creation class. She asked us to do her podcast. We did it. Like, we're both in the beginning stages of our content creation kind of like journeys. But then, just so you know, Monica, we did this thing with Leadership Fiji, these young and aspiring leaders in businesses. And this lady comes and says, hey, in the podcast with Pixels, you guys talked about this. And this is what I learned. Can you like expand on this point? So it's pretty cool that like Monica in the States does a podcast with us. People in Fiji listen to it.
It's true.
And then like are conversing over it. That's pretty cool, right?
That is cool.
Shout out to Monica.
And I find it always great. Like, I look at like the amount of people that listen to your podcasts or whatever happens. And really, who cares? If there's 5 people that get something out of it, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
We get lots of messages. Even we had a message this week from somebody that is going to become a new father that has a decent career. I'm not going to give specifics because I don't know how comfortable they would be with that. And they're
a police officer.
Okay.
There's thousands of police officers.
It's general. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, they just said like, they're having a hard time saving. What would, what are some suggestions, or like, is there anything that they could do for their future, and kind of that kind of general question. And I was thinking like, oh, I love that kind of stuff. I love that people reach out to us, and that's just one case. We get a lot of that. Yeah. And I find that just so inspiring, even for myself. I love when people ask advice. I love that people want to further themselves. Like, I was talking to one of our...
But
what?
I usually find, like, when, I guess over DMs, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, when people ask for advice, and then you actually, like, like, we get so many messages, and so, like, sometimes we don't make it to them. But when we do, we give the answer, and then, like, a lot of times people are like, they just ghost. They're like, heart, because you're like, okay, where are you from? They give the answer. Okay, what is your career? Give the answer. All right, this is what I would ask. This is what the questions I would ask to, like, get, like, the creative juices flowing. Yeah. This. They're like, thanks. And you're like, I don't know. It sounds like you're not going to do anything with that.
No, because...
Sounds like I just overwhelmed you, but...
Well, maybe, but give them some time. That's what I always think. Like, I think when you're trying to inspire someone, you're pressuring them, you're, like, pushing them to do more. Like, they can't help but be overwhelmed because they haven't thought about these things before in that perspective. So maybe in a few months, they'll look back at that and go, okay, actually, I could answer that question. Mm-hmm. And maybe they just answer that question for themselves. Yeah. I think for me, I look at, like, Fiji and the possibilities here and the possibility for entrepreneurship, and I find it exciting. Mm. I find that there is limitless possibilities and potential for people if they just seek it out and ask themselves, what are the things that this, like, category of business people need? What are they desperate for? What service could I provide them?
Okay, so police officer. Right?
Yeah.
And what are the questions I asked? What were some of the questions that I asked them? Like, what is something? I told them, I said, you're a police officer, so you understand the intricacies of what it's like to be that person in Fiji. Yeah. Because when I was in the, like, say in the automotive repair industry, I was like, you just see so many things that, like, need somebody to, like, problems that could need solutions, like on a mass scale, like across all the independent automotive repair facilities or whatever that is. And so for him, I was like, hey, you're a police officer. You understand what it's like to be a police officer. What is one thing that every police officer does every day? Or what is it that every police officer who lives in the barracks, like the housing for police, what do they need every day? Or what is the struggle that every family that has a police officer in the family, need a solution to? And it was like a bunch of those questions. Just like, if you start thinking like that, it's like...
Well, and sometimes, like, I think we have pre-answers that, like, I could think of for you.
Right.
But I think it's better if you give that question to people and they can think of their own answers. Like off the cuff, I think we talked about, well, officers have to iron their uniforms all the time. Maybe you offer to wash and iron people's uniforms for
Mm-hmm.
$2 to $3 a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what it is. Whatever price that you feel is accurate or fair or whatever.
Yep.
And they need that all the time. Maybe it's something that people hate doing. Or it's a service that takes away their time so they can have freedom to do what they enjoy.
And maybe like even at a more intricate level, maybe there's like a software that would really like police officers like, I wish I had that app on my phone, or like I wish that was something that I could just do on my phone as a police officer.
Yeah.
Because like you can go on Fiverr.com, Fiver, and find people to build apps. You know, like I mean,
Yeah,
like I mean, I'm saying like this is obviously like way more intricate. Like you can go to like, hey, washing laundry or cutting people's vegetables, or like my Talevu, my dad's older brother, used to be very high up ranking in the police in Fiji. And when I would come home come to the village for summer holidays, me and my cousins would shine his boots and we'd help like starch his clothes.
Yeah.
Like for when they had marches and stuff like that. And like when I say shine his boots, like it was spit shine. Like you'd shine it with like brush and shoe polish, and then you'd finish it with like this like really fine like linen or something like that, and like and you like literally spit on it. That was a brutal job. That took us like an hour when we were kids,
Sure.
you know, like, so you can do things like that, or you can go right up to the level of like creating a software that would help the whole police force.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
it sounds outrageous, but like really.
Well, we were speaking with one of our employees today about like, she's a great employee. She has great intentions. But sometimes the conversation is not when we're needing like correction or whatever. It's not just with the manager. It turns into gossip.
Mm.
Okay? And so something that we're saying today is like, well, if you figure out how to help your boss and you make their lives easier, like John and I will hear about it more than we will if you're talking to just another employee. If you're talking to another employee, everybody loves to talk, so eventually the manager will hear about it, and then we'll hear about that. So it's better if you bring issues to the manager directly, so it's not gossip, and it's just problem solving, and it actually makes you look really good. And if you can help your manager solve things or like benefit them, then it's easier for you to rise up, because that manager's going to go, this is a great employee.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, to your bosses, they're going to go, this person is awesome. They really helped me. There's such a benefit to the company. Like, let's do something more with them, because everybody needs help. Everybody.
Yeah.
When you,
Especially you.
huh? Especially me. Well, I could say that. You know what? Today when you're chopping those onions, helpful.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Actually, today was great. The last couple days, from what, like how long ago was your grandmother's birthday?
My grandma's birthday?
Yeah, your Nana's birthday.
April? March, April, yeah.
March. So last March, your grandmother had a birthday. We butchered a cow, and then
Oh, yeah.
and then we saved like a quarter of it, I would think.
If that, yeah.
A quarter of it, and we packaged it and put it in our deep freeze at the store. And we're currently still having it for dinner today.
Mm-hmm.
Last couple days, you've made curry out of it. Which has
Yep.
been a nice break for me.
I know. I'm
I
a pretty
did.
good
I did do all your like prep work.
guy. Okay, well, that's true.
But to be honest, I'm a little bit sick of cooking. So I appreciate the break.
And I did a live today, which had like 12 people, I think, on at a peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying
Well,
to decide if I
you
should just
didn't-
go to Facebook instead of doing it on YouTube.
No, I think you stick with YouTube.
Yeah. I guess we didn't announce it, and it was a public holiday. Maybe.
Well, yeah, you didn't say anything about it.
Yeah. People just had to be on YouTube or getting the notifications, I guess, that I was live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the consistency will pay off one day.
Right.
And I think, like, I don't know, just keep going with it.
What do you think about people who move to Fiji with a dream? Or people who move to Pacific Island countries with dreams of, like, to do things, or, you know?
Like us, or like, what do you mean by that?
No, I just feel like Fiji really kills people off.
Yeah.
You know?
I think lately, John, we've gone through like a stint of friends or different people that come into Fiji and they want to do something, and then it doesn't pan out for them, and then they go back. I would say it's a hard go. Like, even I was saying a couple months ago, like when we went to Bible study, I was telling everybody, like, we had some people when we first moved here that kind of prophesied over us that we were going to have like a really rough go. Like, they put it into some terms that were pretty depressing.
Right.
And they were like, this is going to be the hardest season of your lives.
I was
And
like, I know.
you won't make it, and like kind of like good luck, because this is gonna be a nightmare for you. And I found that really hard. Like, when we first moved here, everybody was kind of like warning us of like, oh, trust me, you don't even know, you have no idea how hard it's gonna be for you, and like, good luck with your lives or your dreams and all the things you're doing. And John and I distance ourselves from people pretty quickly. I think in the first year or two that we were here that had said something to us like that, because it was hard. And both of us had said, like, it is hard. So we don't need naysayers that make it even harder for us. Like, we need to build ourselves up, and then we can welcome those people back in that are struggling themselves. Because I think a lot of that is like self-projection.
Yeah. I think like we were talking about yesterday, like, this just sounds really depressing, but like, nobody hates me more than me.
True.
Right?
True. And
that's definitely true for me. Like, so
it's
like,
true for John, 100%.
yeah, like, you know, we get tons of comments online, and it's just like, whatever you say, like, I've already thought it. And like, I guess I've already thought it, but like, it doesn't affect me, because like, I've already ran that scenario in my head. So like, it doesn't really, I've already thought about it.
Yeah, like, I would say we're very different in our mentalities. Like, in the morning, you wake up and you work out because you hate yourself, in the sense of like, you're like, you could be better, you're lazy. Like, the negativity, like, in that mental sense, gets you going.
Yeah. I loathe my existence. Or like, I loathe the state, the current state of my existence.
And
basically just another way of saying, like, I just want to get better. I want to be better than where I am today.
John is just a perfectionist, so you have to look at it like the sense of like, the ideal is here.
People have always said I'm a perfectionist. I don't think I am.
And John will always be here, and there's no way in his mind that he could ever be here, because even when he was at his like peak physical state or whatever, he still hated the state that he was in.
Sure, yeah.
So, and then for myself, I find as a woman, the older I get, the less like physically fit I am or whatever, the more comfortable I am with myself. When I was like so fit or so like in my prime, I was more self-deprecating, or like, oh, I'm just not perfect, or there's an issue with like this small part of my body. And the more imperfections I have, or the older I get, the more comfortable I am with myself. And so it's so different between us. Like, I'm more comfortable in my imperfection.
So we're just talking about our bodies.
Yeah.
Like, so when, like, it's been said, like, when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain required to change, that's when you change.
Sure.
Do you think you'll ever get to the point where, like, the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of, like, waking up early in the morning and, like, sweating and, or, like, whatever that is?
No, I think for me, I don't.
Like, would you be willing to, like, be 400 pounds?
I think honestly, yes. I don't think I would care physically. I don't think that would ever be a motivator for me. I think the motivator for me is like, I have boys. I want to be able to keep up with them. I would have outside motivation.
All right.
I wouldn't never think like.
I just like feel like nobody can Like I feel like nobody can have respect for me if I'm not fitter than them even.
Maybe.
That's what I feel like.
I don't think it's about, well, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. I think for you, I think like that also helps your mental state. I think without it, you don't do well. I think even the last like few months, it's been a rough couple months just getting in the groove of work, and we want to open another coffee shop in Suva. But there's something that everybody needs to understand within Fiji is like the timeline for things just gets pushed back constantly. There's so much going on, even within like the village. We're having lots of village meetings lately that you
Gosh.
have to be involved in. So it takes your mornings. And then lately we've had a lot of tractor jobs, which financially John and I need currently. So that's taking precedent. And then we want to open a store, but sometimes that kind of just gets pushed back, and we're launching the merch and we're doing X, Y, and Z. And it just kind of becomes this like overwhelming mountain of like to do. And it's so hard to accomplish anything, it feels like. And then you feel like, I was saying to John the other day, I said, sometimes I feel like I'm treading water. Like I'm doing, but I'm in the same spot. I haven't moved forward. I haven't accomplished that thing. I can't check it off my list yet, because even with the merch, okay, maybe we've had the hats and the photo shoot for that. But we haven't had the photo shoot for everything else that we're selling.
Yeah.
And that can't get listed on the website unless we've executed that. And I've delegated certain things, and you're out on the tractor. And I'm okay at website stuff, and I'm not great with technology. So a lot of things that I fail at, I'm like, John, can you do? And it piles up on your list because I'm incompetent in that area. And then you're on the tractor and you have this growing list of things that you're not getting to.
Yeah.
But you're out driving a tractor, which is not bad.
I know, and it's like, yeah. I had a mini moment yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, how do you
Okay.
feel about that? John was having extreme anxiety.
Mm.
Don't go, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Don't pretend. I don't see why is that hard for you to admit? It was what it was. That's what it was.
No, it's
It's
because like, I don't
anxiety.
need people checking in on me, like being like, "Oh, I hope you're okay," or like,
No.
you know, you're
No,
spreading
but
yourself too thin.
anxiety, like also people have to realize, even my dad said to me, my dad's a very big personality, accomplishes a lot, very goal driven, has had anxiety in the last couple years. I think like COVID and all this stuff has put a lot of pressure and compounded it. And large personalities or perfectionists or highly driven people experience anxiety or just like a compounding of ambition that weighs down on them.
Compounding of ambition.
I think like that's what I look at. Like your ambition, your goals are suffocating you. It's not a bad thing if you can go, yeah, I see the end of the tunnel, I can get
Yeah.
there. But if you're treading water within in that like sphere of like my ambition, it becomes anxiety. That's what it does.
Yeah, and I think it's my fault, like as a human being, not being able to get people to buy in, I guess, to the level that we need to get to the place where we want to be, right? And I don't think we can expect anybody to like care as much as we do about the things that we're doing. But like I feel like when I'm surrounded by people who are like just like taking care of stuff without like, or like telling me like, hey, this is what I gotta do this tomorrow, I gotta do this next, gotta do that next, and it's like, oh, that's like so relieving when I don't have to like come up with like what needs to be done. And yeah, I guess the anxiety is also compounded by like feeling like I can do, or like I'm needed everywhere,
Yeah.
and not knowing, like it's really weird to be able to like create a website, set up the project management software, and then run a tractor and fix hydraulic leaks, and just like and then go edit videos for YouTube. It's like a really, it's bizarre, right? And so when I zoom out and I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's so much stuff to do, and I'm just there, just like sitting on a tractor in first gear, low range, just like doing whatever it is. Just like, I have so much stuff to do right now, and I'm here sitting on this thing.
It's funny.
But it's like,
I
this
always
is the thing that's
picture-
making me money.
I always picture the tractor being like an alleviating, like task driven, like I'm plowing land kind of like alleviation for you. I always like think like when I clean houses, when I'm back in Canada and I'm cleaning houses, I'm like, yes, like I have accomplished this thing. Like when I finish tasks, I just like love checking that off and going like, okay, done, next.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. Like that is a thing that definitely contributes to my
Yeah.
like feeling, is like never being able to feel like I get to check something off the list. And because when I do, I'm like, oh, that feels good,
Yeah.
Or like hand something off, like actually hand it off.
But
it's like, oh, that feels
one
good.
thing that like I was just telling you, I think a couple weeks ago, is like me and you need to change the phase of like entrepreneurial like skill set that we have, because we've been living in this like I create, I do, I'm executing lifestyle, and we're coming into a phase where we're doing more than we have before, and we need to be delegators. So I heard someone say that they were saying like, yeah,
Ooh.
I used to be like the entrepreneur, the doer, and now I'm the CEO, and I have to change into a delegator instead of a doer. And like a CEO is an overseer, an oversighter of like, are you doing your job properly? This is your task. These are the things you need to do. And you're accomplishing your to-do list, not because of you, because of other people.
Right.
And I think it's actually like, for me, it's a harder role because like, I just like want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to accomplish
It's
it
true.
myself.
It's like the messages, right? Like we were just talking about it today. You guys are just hearing everything that we're going through right now. It's kind of like raw, uncut, but like the DMs that we get, it's just like becoming too much to manage.
Yeah.
And we want to talk to you guys. We built this platform, and it's called social media for a reason. It's meant to be social, right? It's meant so that people can interact, and that's what we actually want to do.
Yeah.
And so we get so many messages just like, okay, we need to now delegate somebody to be answering messages and to be filtering the ones back to us that we need to be able to answer ourselves, so we can just give him all the answers and then he can respond.
Yeah, like
So, like, it's still
some of the messages are like, how much does a tractor cost? Someone else can answer that,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't need to be from us personally. And then some of the things are like, I don't know, like the police officer thing, the sense of like, okay, I need to be able to save, what are the things that I could do to progress my financial state? And I can't expect someone else to have ideas for that. So if that gets passed back to me, I can think about it for a moment and then reply to it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gets buried deep into like the abyss of DMs, because we do get a lot per day. And you can just miss it. So it would be great to have somebody that can bring to our attention the ones that we need to see and reply to.
And so we stopped missing them too.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's hard to delegate someone to that, because we were saying, well, what if they misrepresent us? Maybe we need somebody that will sign their name at the bottom, just saying like, this is who I am. This is like walk administration or whatever that looks like, because we don't want to also mislead that, it's us.
No. Yeah.
And I'm in our comments quite a bit, and I'll reply to people. I see most of the comments. I just don't always have the time to think about a response or go through everything.
Yeah.
So I think like it just kind of, we want to be there, but also I think our priority is our children and spending time together instead of spending like an hour talking to people.
Yeah, like that's another thing that like sometimes gives me anxiety. Like tonight, right? There's like a couple receipts. There's a receipt and 2 estimates that I needed to send out, and I
Okay.
wanted to have them sent out before the week starts. Like tomorrow, it's Tuesday, start of the week after the Mohammed's birthday, long weekend, and you're bathing the kids and giving them a back massage and praying with them, and I'm like, I need to do this now, and so I went and prayed with them myself after, but it was just like, but I need to do that. So after that,
Don't
I can have a
worry.
shower and
I
then do
didn't
this
give them a
podcast.
back massage. They gave me a massage. They
Oh,
were
did they?
rubbing my hands. I pulled my lower back so bad this week. And it's like the furniture we have has 0 lumbar support. So like my damaged back is just like slowly like
Dying.
concaving. I'm like sitting on the floor, just like slowly my lower back is just suffering.
What do you
and
think of the Rugby World Cup?
haven't been able to fix it. I haven't, sorry Fiji, I haven't even watched 2 minutes of
Why
the
not?
World Cup.
Why
It
won't
was
you?
like 3 in the morning, I
Yeah, but there's some
swear.
that are 7 in the morning. You just don't care.
I'm not a morning person. You keep me up till 12 at night. Do not make me wake up earlier than 7:30. I get up at 7 and I'm like, okay, we got to get the kids out of here by 7:45. I got to get myself dressed. I still in the morning will have to make our children's lunches. I'm crushing it out in the morning, but I am a zombie. I'm like,
Actually, with the World Cup, me and Tui need to make it. I had a good idea for a video that we need to
Okay.
make. Because the Land Cruiser video went so well, we need to make a video where, because what we actually want to do is go to the next Rugby World Cup, as
yeah.
a few guys. And so we should reverse budget that or just budget for that. So do a video where I'm like, okay, look for the cost of flights, look at the average cost of a ticket at a game. There's only games on the weekend at the Rugby World Cup. So how long is accommodation? How much does accommodation cost for if we want to go to 2 games, we'll have to be there the whole week.
Well, that's really hard to do with what country. Do you know what country?
It's in Australia.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I want to do the whole break down the whole thing and then be like, okay, so there's 48 months, which means you have to save this much every month or this much bi-weekly or
Yeah,
fortnightly
that'd be great.
to get to the next Rugby World Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
We should do that. Hey? And just do it and just chop it up so it's still fast paced so it's not too drawn out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, okay. Speaking of random ideas, last week you were saying to me, I wonder if we should do a cartoon of our family.
Okay, I don't know if we should be talking about that.
I think we should talk about it.
Okay.
I think it's just a random idea that is going to be out in the abyss, just floating
It's
there.
on the I've thought about it for a long time.
On the
but-
vision board.
yeah.
It is not going to happen for the next 5 years at least. But it's something that I think would be interesting. Be able to make our family into our cartoon in Fiji. And
My idea.
John's idea.
Come up with caricatures of each of us. We could even the writers could even come up with ideas from what we've done in the past, going through our YouTube videos, moving, and then use it kind of integrate Bible lessons into it or good ethics into so create a pilot episode that would be 20 minutes long and then take it to Fiji 1 or to FBC and be like, hey, would you guys want to run a cartoon based on our family?
I think the reason...
Or we just do it ourselves.
I just think the reason why I like the idea is because our kids, I prefer to keep them away from our social media. I'm I don't know, I'm 50-50. Sometimes, oh, it's so cute and I love that and I want to post it.
This is a way we could do that though.
And then yeah, and sometimes I'm I don't want our kids on social media. I'm protective over them and I want to make sure they feel comfortable. But then in the cartoon space, I feel that's a way that people could kind of embrace them in their lifestyle, and we could kind of represent, their childhood and stuff in the stories that we share with people and base it off of reality. I think that would be cool. I love that idea of capturing their childhood, because I will say, the other day when we were having a hard time, we were talking about, Fiji is an option for us, and we don't have to do it. But something that always will keep us here for now is like our children have such a beautiful lifestyle. Like they have a great life. And like they don't even know how lucky they are. Like
Yeah.
today we had a holiday. They were out riding horses. They took the horses down to the river. They were swimming. They were playing with all their cousins and their little uncles. And they were just having the best time. And like such a good time that like they needed
Yeah,
a
no, I
nap
came out
and
of
I
the
just let them
village
like
meeting.
go for it.
I came out of the clan meeting actually, and like look across the field, and it's just like Seva riding a horse. I'm like, what's going on? Like on the other side of the village. I'm like, where? And Leaky's playing rugby. Seva's riding a horse like on the outskirts of the village. I'm like, this kid is like 5 years old. What's going on right now?
Just living the best life ever.
Me just like being in one of these village meetings again. I'm like, I want to be riding a horse playing touch rugby.
Yeah. I just look at it and I look at the difference between the lifestyle that they'd have back in Canada versus what they have here. I'm like, it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to take that away from them. I just love it.
Yeah. Well, we actually, before we move on, signed a big contract, and we can now talk about it. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we mentioned it vaguely last week, but we signed a big contract with Digicel.
Yeah.
We're pretty stoked. We have like...
Digicel is one of the two cell phone or phone providers in Fiji. So that would be like, if you're watching from Canada, that'd be like a TELUS or a Rogers. If you're watching for the States, it'd be like an AT&T.
Yeah, I don't have an equivalent
Mobile.
in Australia. Sorry,
If you're in Australia, it would be like a... No, just kidding.
Oh my God, I'm like, how do you know the phone companies are us?
But yeah, so we just signed a 1-year contract with Digicel, so we'll be making some content with them and for them.
Yeah, and it makes sense for us. Digicel's the only phone provider that connects with us in the village. Yeah. We tried to do Vodafone, and I was standing on the couch with my phone being like, can I get a connection?
Yeah.
So Digicel is the one phone provider that hooks us up in the village. So we're pretty excited. And also the staff have been great to work with. So we'll see how it goes this year. We're going to try to make sure we provide good content for them. We only want to sign on with one more big company. So we'll see what that looks like. We've had a couple offers come in or people talking to us this year. But we want to make sure that we provide you guys with good value in the sense that we advertise and then also just put out fun, enjoyable content.
Yeah. So like, if we're doing like one to every, one Digicel, ad for every 20 posts, then if we add another one, we still want to keep the ratio at 1 to 20. So that means like we just have to
put out more
normal content. So
yeah. So I think
that's what Tweet's for.
Good luck, Tui.
Yeah.
We'll help you with that. Don't worry. But I'm excited about it. I think it's a good fit for us. We'll see how it goes in our first few, but we're
learning.
It's kind of it's our first like venture into actually making money off of social media. It's been we're almost on 4 years. In March we'll hit our 4-year mark, and in Fiji we can't make money off of social media. So it's definitely something that I think it's about time. I'm glad we've waited this long, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for the support. We wouldn't have gotten a deal like this without everybody who watches and supports, comments, and everything.
I have our game lined up here that we can try for. I think both of us are kind of fading, so we'll try to wrap it up pretty quick. But first question is, what do I dislike that most people love?
What do you dislike?
What do I dislike that most people love?
I'm not good at these questions, like, on the go. Like, usually I'm the one who gets to the
Okay,
question.
I think next time we let you surprise me. Maybe I'm better on the
You are
phone.
better, yeah. I don't know, a good time?
Wow. I don't even know what. Wow. Okay, haters gonna hate.
I'm just kidding. What do you dislike that most people love? Going to live music.
So true.
There you go.
So
Yes.
true.
I
That's a
did it.
winner.
I freaking did
I
it.
don't like live music.
Yeah.
I'm not a big music fan.
You don't
But-
like live events in general. You know, she doesn't like going to sports. She doesn't
No.
like going to live music.
That's not true.
She
I
doesn't
like
being
rugby
around people.
sevens.
She actually doesn't like people. And
You're
she-
such a liar. Okay, so it's funny. I would say with you, when you say I don't like live music, I would say you don't love social events.
Dude,
Like
I am
if
a
it's just like no,
social
John
butterfly.
likes live music, but he doesn't like just like a big house full of people to go. Like when we come home, he's like, I'm so tired.
Mm.
Where I'm like, oh, that's so great. Da, da, da. And John's like, you talk too much all night. That's typically the feedback
never
I
say
get.
that.
Like, you talk way too much. Every time I knew you were talking too much, I'm like, sorry, I enjoyed myself, honey. Yeah.
Just give me flashbacks to every single time.
Yeah, every single time we're at a social event. It's okay. The next question is, what is one thing you'll do differently during our next argument?
I'm so bad. I want to be so like I'm so sarcastic. It's actually not even funny. Literally not even funny. So my answer is okay. What is the question? I want to say something that'd be like totally inappropriate.
What's one thing you'll do differently during our next argument?
No, maybe just
Okay.
toss you around less. I
Idiot.
can help myself. Okay.
Trust me, if you did that, it'll be a battle for a lifetime.
Oh gosh, yeah. I pulled my 50 cal hip fire that bad boy.
Good luck.
Dude, how about Leaky playing COD the other day?
Okay,
Kid
we
just
were like
slays.
viewing like our kids love Call of Duty, and it's not like from our inspiration. Every child in this village plays it, and so we can't help that they're slightly addicted. And we weren't letting them play it for a long time, and then we've kind of slowly eased into it.
They only get to play it on the weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like obviously John and I are not like violent adverse, but because I played that kind of video games,
Yeah.
like
Anyways, you
I
don't
don't
have to
see
make
it.
excuses for
well,
us.
I'm
Our
just
kids
saying
play
some
Call of
people
Duty.
have like some issue with it.
Okay,
Anyway, they were like, "Mom, come see our skills. We want to show you." And they were like such bosses. They were like in there just crushing people. And I'm like, oh. And then John was like,
Leaky like throws a smoke grenade, snipes guy, and then like runs into a house behind him and launches like some crazy nuclear attack and just like wipes out the
yeah.
whole
And then
team.
John had like a whole moment where he was just like reconsidering his parenting abilities. Like, how much if we let you guys actually play this?
Dude.
Oh my gosh, were we the worst parents ever?
Just no scoping people left, right, and center.
I feel like we
know.
don't let them play it very often, and then they're just crushing it.
Just crushing it.
So
Sorry, what was the question? What were we talking about?
we said, what's one thing that you do differently during our next argument? This is how we got into sniper mode, shooting
Oh, yeah.
people. I have one.
Okay.
I will try and do my best,
This
and
is gonna be good. Guys, get ready. Grab some
sometimes when
popcorn
we
for
have
this
a
one.
fight, and then I'll think like he has a good point. Of course, I'm not going to say that in the fight.
But
because
next time you will. You'll be like, you
But
know what? You're
next time I'm going to try and like see your point a little more than like I sometimes
right.
once
It's so
in a
vague.
once in a blue moon I'll go, good point.
I'm pretty good at that.
You're decent at that.
Yeah, I am.
I'm like,
I
it
understand.
doesn't matter if he's slightly right. I will go for the jugular and get my point. I'm going to dismiss
I see.
all your good points. I will try to be better and just say like, okay,
So that helps me with my answer.
half a point for that. You get half a point for that. It was a good point. And then back to my point.
So can you read the question for me?
What is one thing you'll do differently during our next argument?
Well, I think what I'll do is probably just try to be like, you know, after I make a point, be like, remember
knew
the
you were gonna say
conversation that we had on the podcast
Mm.
where you're like, you're going to try to see my point of view? Like, you got to say, like, this would probably be one of those times
Are you
where
gonna
you
also
should
are you gonna also say
understand
are
my-
you gonna also say boys rule and girls drool? Is that something also you're gonna say?
Yeah, like, I'm rubber, You are glue. Whatever you say to me, bounce off me, sticks to you. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Roses are red, violets are blue. John is awesome, and you lose the fight.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what I'll do different. I'll probably just be kinder.
Okay. Well, we'll both work on that. Fight better, everybody. When you have disagreements, talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just bail. John and I fight all the time. It's normal. We work through it. So
We fight a lot.
you are married or in a relationship or in a friendship, be honest, talk about it, communicate. I think that's 90% of the issue. Yeah, if you don't talk, you can't solve it. Anyway, this podcast is sponsored by
Walker
Fresh
Media.
Teen. Hey, don't interrupt my
Walker Media,
ad
no.
session.
No, we no longer accept sponsorships from Fresh Tea and Coffee.
We are going to be launching Waka Media. We're
Yeah.
going to be working on doing photo shoots, videography for people that are wanting to reconnect with their families back home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something really exciting. We're going to be launching different things for businesses in the South Pacific,
Yeah.
documentary styles and things like that. We will be putting out that kind of advertising and knowledge to you guys in the near future, but check us out later. Anyway, this is the Waka Family Podcast.
We're out.
Have a good night.